Yeah, okay, let's do this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing.
And I'm Chloe Stebbing.
And we are the weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on stevestebbing.ca. And last week, I said that we were going to lead off this week with a movie that's 3-4 weeks old at this point, Transformers 1, which I still do have that review, but I have something a little bit fresher. That's right, fresh for your eyeballs this week. It is a film that I actually just saw at the Vancouver International Film Festival. Unfortunately, it was one that Chloe had to miss at the film festival. But there is one from the festival that she did get to see. And it was actually, coincidentally enough, the film that I saw before this one. But this is Sean Baker's brand new Palme d'Or winning film, Anora.
Anora, a young sex worker from Brooklyn, meets and impulsively marries the son of an oligarch. Once the news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. Starring Mikey Madison, Mark Eidelstein, Eidelstein.
A lot of Russian names.
Yeah.
There's Russian or Armenian names here. Try, move on.
Yeah.
Like, don't even worry about it.
Yura Borisov, Karen Karagulian, Vache Tovmassian, and Alexei Serebryakov. Written and directed by Sean Baker.
This is, I mean, you just heard all of us on a podcast go on and on about this film separately, because you were just on After the Credits with Marina, Bill, and Melissa and I, and Nora is one of the films that is going to or should define 2024. When it comes to Oscars and everything, I really hope that they are bold enough to nominate this film, because I think it really, really, really deserves it. This is your best picture. This is best director. This is best screenplay, best original screenplay, best actress, Mikey Madison. And sorry, what was the third name in there? I get is Borisov.
The third name, Yura Borisov. Yeah.
Yuri Borisov, he is incredible in this film. He is so fantastic and brings such interesting humanity to his character. And as I said on After the Credits, and I think I might have heard this somewhere, but this film is Pretty Woman with an Uncut Gems kind of filter on it, that turns into After Hours with Martin Scorsese, by Martin Scorsese. Like, it is just so multifaceted. It is Sean Baker's closest to a mainstream note, but still not, still totally a Sean Baker movie. And it's just a film that I really hope people can just open their arms for and open their mind to check out, because I think it's just such a well-rounded film. So definitely a 5 out of 5 on every level. Next up, and this was actually my youngest daughter's, one of her birthday requests, was to take her to Kelowna, to the only theaters showing this movie, the other side of Kelowna. Like, had to drive like 2 hours to get there. But we got to see the Pharrell biopic, Piece by Piece.
A vibrant journey through the life of Pharrell Williams told through the lens of Lego animation, featuring the voice of Pharrell Williams, written and directed by Morgan Neville. Is this like the future of movies? Like,
no,
Lego?
this is just this is just something that struck Pharrell that he wanted to do with the biopic about his life. And I know another question, or people that aren't music savvy would wonder, like, Wyatt Pharrell Williams biopic, but after watching the movie, like, that man has his hands in so many different hits
That's true.
over, like, 2.5 decades of just, like, so many big hits and so many great songs. And just, like, as a songwriter and as him himself in different incarnations, and to see it approached like this is really fun and really interesting. I mean, I love Lego, and I really love all the Lego Enterprise things. Like, the games are a lot of fun. The silliness to them is always that lighthearted wink that you enjoy. And but I don't really see anybody else pulling it off. I this kind of feels like a one and done type thing in telling a story like this. The handling of Snoop Dogg really made me laugh in this. I don't want to give too many spoilers in that, but I thought it was funny and it was cute. And it's just a fun movie with good music, and a talented dude. I do wonder how the Jay-Z stuff is going to age in the next couple of years with all this Diddy stuff going on. Like, there's going to be some tarnishing going on to some images, and I'm just wondering who is going to touch. But yeah, it's a fun movie. And if you like a music biopic, it's done in a fun way, in a new way. Okay. This is the moment that Chloe's been dreading ever since the Vancouver International Film Festival, because now I'm about to bring up Guy Maddin's Rumours.
The leaders of 7 wealthy democracies get lost in the woods while drafting a statement on a global crisis, facing danger as they attempt to find their way out. Starring Kate Blanchett and Alicia Vikander. Directed by Evan Johnson, Galen Johnson, and Guy Maddin.
That cast list kind of undersells the cast because it is quite more varied than that. And Alicia Vikander really only kind of shows up in, like, towards the end of the second act of the film. She gets discovered near the giant brain. And I mean, now that I've said giant brain, I mean, there's so much of this movie that is just absolutely hard to describe and hard to contextualize in any sort of review sense, almost. Um, but what I really love is this movie kicks off saying that basically this is how the G7 summits are conducted, and that even G7 themselves signed off on it. They said it was a-okay, like that. This is what
What?
happens. Yeah, that's what the little pre thing says, like, which obviously not true, right? But, like,
Right.
to approach it that the leaders of the world go on this existential hike through a spooky forest to work out their problems, and their problems within negotiating for their countries also come across in this soap opera like relationship sex romp sort of way, as well as Canada seems to be played brilliantly and seen stealingly by Roy Dupuis, who is the good looking and suave Canadian Prime Minister, who has clearly had a relationship with the United Kingdom, and proceeds right into a sexual relationship with Germany, and played by Kate Blanchett. And this, I mean, it's metaphorically absurd. It's all over the place. It's got jellified mummies,
Hmm.
and masturbating zombies that explode. I it just, all of the metaphors are so loud yet trying to be so cheeky. Um, and I mean, I came away on the better side of
Yeah,
like, like, I enjoyed my experience. I could see a lot of people not, and
for
I
sure.
mean, we've talked with a few people that did not enjoy this movie. And beyond the I don't think I ever got how exactly you felt about this film.
I did enjoy it. It was comedic and it was very pointed in parts. Um, just some of the gags, like the indigenous one, is just so fucking funny. Um, but yeah, I did leave the theater being like, okay, but I don't get it.
Like, what exactly did I just watch?
Yeah, like
It
I definitely enjoyed the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't I come out of it being like I can't really recommend this, but I
Exactly.
enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the experience of it. All right, so one more for the fresh for your eyeballs this week is an animated film. I had the option, was going to see Wild Robot, or was I going to see this one? Well, this one came out first, so I wanted to catch it in theaters. It's Transformers 1.
The untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies but who were once friends bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. Featuring the voices of Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan Michael Key, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, and John Hamm. Directed by Josh Cooley.
I mean, this movie is fine. It succeeds in what it sets out to be. It's got some good humor to it, some good fan service humor that I thought was really funny, especially if you've watched it since the 1980s. There is a reference to the song Touch from that 86 film. That made me laugh. And it seems that Scarlett Johansson has the funnier of the dialogue in the movie. But as far as taking these two iconic enemies and having them be like best friends in the beginning, and then evolve to being enemies, they actually execute it quite well. And I almost feel like I have to give that to Josh Cooley, who is the director of this film. He also did Toy Story 4, which, in my estimation, is a film that I was throwing all sorts of shade at that film before it came out, because Toy Story 3 is just such a perfect trilogy that I just felt like the dipping into the money pot thing. It was just it just bothered me. But Toy Story 4 is actually a really solid movie that I
Yeah.
really, really enjoy. And it took new blood to make it work. So Josh Cooley is kind of on a winning streak, because Transformers 1 is an enjoyable film. I dig it, and I don't think that there will be anything like, I don't think we're continuing down this animated theatrical route, because it just doesn't feel big enough to build a franchise on. The animation, especially when you hold it up against other animated films, is not to the same caliber. But still a lot of fun, and I'm glad I saw it in theaters. Let's head to the Blu-ray for a second. Yes, on the Blu-ray. This is something that I actually watched a few weeks ago, and I was wrestling talking about. But I feel like I really do need to talk about it, because I think it's one of the more interesting films of 2024. It's called I Saw the TV Glow.
A teenager is trying to survive life in the suburbs when a classmate introduces him to a mysterious late night television show. Starring Justice Smith, Bridget Lundy Payne, Helena Howard, Lindsay Jordan, Connor O'Malley, Emma Portner, Ian Foreman, Fred Durst, and Danielle Deadweiler. Written and directed by Jane Schoenbrun.
And Jane Schoenbrun is a very, very interesting filmmaker and is doing very, very interesting work. And I am excited to see what project sparks her imagination next, because I want to lead with all the good for sure,
Mhm.
because original stories like this and almost unclassifiable stories need to be told, and stories that can't be contained in a box or contained in a genre, because this one feels like it's spiking towards the horror genre, because there's never once where I felt like this movie is a horror film
Yeah.
whatsoever. There are horrifying images sometimes, but there's also a strange beauty to some of the horrific images that you do see in this film. And this film is playing to a message and playing to a frequency that isn't me.
Yeah.
and I can appreciate the art of it. I can appreciate great performances. Justice Smith is amazing in the film, and every actor is giving their all, and there are things that interest me about it. The Mandela effect is something that interests me for sure. And meta stuff like breaking the fourth wall or breaking realities and stuff like that, I love that kind of stuff, but it never went in the direction that that jived with what I was thinking.
Yeah, same.
um and I know that that's divisive, and I still think it should be celebrated for it. The easiest way to say it, most simple way to say it is it's just not for me. It's well executed. It's just not for me.
Yeah, and that was my exact thoughts, like coming directly off watching it when I watched it like 3 or 4 months ago or something like that. It was a while ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, like my initial thought was like, this wasn't for me, but I can appreciate it for what it is and
Hmm.
acknowledge that the people who it is for will appreciate it as well.
It made me sad. Is the film supposed to be sad? There's no triumph to this film at all. It just feels sad.
Yeah,
Like in the end.
I think it is like a technical tragedy, but again, I can't really dissect it that well.
Yeah. It just the whole like last ending of the movie is just kind of like a spiral into like he gets older, and then he tries to revisit what connected them, it's completely different than what he remembered, and it's really cheesy and almost
Yeah.
embarrassing and stuff like that. And then the birthday scene, which is like really well executed, and then he like makes a big revelation about himself and then comes out and apologizes for the birthday, and then it goes to credits, and I was like, what? I feel like I just spewed out the whole movie, but you can cut some of that. Yeah, I still think gnarly art like that needs to be made. I just That one wasn't for me. All right, let's see what's streamable. That's right, on the streaming pile. I'm excited to talk about this one. It came out in kind of like a limited release already, but then it's going to be on Netflix now for everybody to check out. It's Anna Kendrick's debut behind the camera. It's Woman of the Hour.
Cheryl Bradshaw, a single woman looking for a suitor on a hit 1970s TV show, chooses charming bachelor Rodney Alcala, unaware that behind the man's gentle facade he hides a deadly secret. Starring Anna Kendrick, Danielle Zavato, Nicolette Robinson, and Tony Hale. Directed by Anna Kendrick, available on Netflix.
See, I didn't know anything about this true story serial killer before watching this film,
Hmm.
and found out some really interesting stuff, like that he had somehow gotten his way onto the dating game
Yep.
and actually won the date and everything. And it's a really fascinating story that Anna Kendrick tells at the same time as exploring her character story, an actress trying in kind of the last breath efforts to make it in Hollywood, and just the brutal misogyny she faces from like basically every dude in this movie. There's not a single good dude in this movie, but it feels fitting, and it feels right. It feels like almost period appropriate, or like modern time appropriate as well, I would say. And honestly, Anna Kendrick in her debut behind the camera like really brings it. This film has really great tension, really good suspense. The Some of the darker scenes of the film are very well executed and get under your skin. And another film that I really don't hope doesn't get saddled with the Netflix movie moniker, even though it is a Netflix film, but it was Netflix purchased. And Daniel Zavato, who plays Rodney in this film, this is like a real arrival film for him. I only know him from the Penny Dreadful spin-off series, City of Angels, that I think only went 1 or 2 seasons. He's the lead of that one. But he's great in this film, has a really, really good, I just call it serial killer switch, where
Okay.
the mask comes off metaphorically, right?
Right.
So I thought he was really, really solid. And yeah, I hope people check out Woman of the Hour because it's definitely worth checking out. All right, let's move to a different streaming service for a documentary. This is Fanatical, the catfishing of Tegan and Sarah.
Follows a catfishing scheme that targeted fans of the indie rock band Tegan and Sarah, exploring the dark side of fandom. Directed by Aaron Lee Carr, available on Disney Plus.
This one is messed up because this shows a lot of the problem with fandom, with so-called fans
Right.
that are more obsessive, um, and to a point of identity theft, essentially. And basically, this was very much focused on Tegan, of the group Tegan and Sarah, and got like insidiously deep in her life for years, for well over a decade. Um, there was basically a fake Tegan who they coined Fegan in this movie, that was catfishing multiple people, and even got so far as catfishing somebody that was inner circle adjacent, like knew a friend through a friend, like actually knew Tegan and had met Tegan, but this fake Tegan had infiltrated that person's email and was almost perpetuating relationships as well, and then like kind of like abusive relationships, and creating like this complete false narrative. And it's such a weird and crazy story that just as you keep pulling back more layers, it becomes more and more interesting. And if you ever been a fan of those shows like Catfish or
Right.
Stolen Identity stuff, this documentary is fascinating, especially being that it's the catfishing of like a celebrity character,
Hmm.
like basically a public figure. So I really dug that. And I like Tegan and Sarah as artists as well, so
Yeah.
that's a good conduit into the film. So I dug that one, and definitely recommend it for some good weekend viewing. This one is also a documentary, a little bit older. It's been up for a few weeks now, but it's definitely a film made to bring some catharsis. It is Child Star.
Examines how some of the most well known former child stars, such as Lovato, deconstruct the highs and lows of growing up in the spotlight and how their ascension to fame, riches, and power affects their futures. Starring Demi Lovato, Christina Ricci, Raven Simone, Alison Stoner, Drew Barrymore, Jojo Siwa, and Keenan Thompson. Directed by Demi Lovato and Nicola Marsh. Available on Disney Plus.
So yeah, this is Demi Lovato basically exploring her own rise to fame as a child star and how it affected how she became, how she moved into maturity and moved into adulthood, through interviews with other child stars, very prominent child stars. Um, and I find this stuff really interesting, especially like Bratz did a few months ago, where they're bringing like I need some of this research to heal. I there's certain things about that, and it comes up in a film that I'm going to bring hopefully next week or the week after, Will Ferrell's film, Will and Harper,
Mm.
where he went cross country with his trans friend. Um, I really love films where they're trying to work out something within themselves and discover something within themselves so they can move on. And you can tell that Demi Lovato is trying to do that. And there's a lot of this film when she's dealing with people, other child stars or other people that were in her life, Like she crossed paths with Raven Simone being a Disney kid. But Allison Stoner was in Camp Rock with her for I think all of those films. So they had a close friendship and stuff. So there's stuff like that she's owning up to as an adult that I find really interesting. And then, somebody like Drew Barrymore, who is like probably one of the most famous child stars and the one that's probably, dare I say, thriving the most at this point, to see how does she continue to be a success, especially given all the things she went through. And there's stuff she's talking about when she was a little kid going to the club and being offered alcohol and stuff. And it's crazy stuff. So
Right.
very interesting film. One more for this week. And it is it's a remake of a story that if you were familiar with movies in the mid 90s, or mid to early 90s, you would have checked out. This film is called Society of the Snow.
The flight of a rugby team crashes on a glacier in the Andes. The few passengers who survive the crash find themselves in one of the world's toughest environments to survive. Written and directed by J.A. Bayona, available on Netflix.
J.A. Bayona did The Impossible.
Okay, good. I like that
So
one.
he does true story survival stuff really well. And this story was already made in 1993. It's either might be 1990. Called Alive with Ethan Hawke, where their rugby team, they crash in the Andes and they're forced to eat the dead bodies. It's really good. I thought that Society of the Snow was phenomenal, so well done. J.A. Bayona shoots a film so beautifully. The only thing, there's a lot of characters and sometimes I lose track of the characters. I had a cast list that I was going to give you off of Wikipedia, and it was like 18 people, and I'm like,
Jesus
I can't have
Christ.
Chloe read all of these names off. Like, this is crazy. But it is a really solid movie. It is quite long. It's a bit over 2 hours. Um, but again, a film that should never be relegated to being just called a Netflix movie. This is pure cinema on streaming, because it is phenomenally well done. But I think when it comes to award season, which we're about to enter into, it'll probably get forgotten, lost in the shuffle when it comes to best foreign feature. But Bayona always delivers, unless it's a Jurassic World movie, and then he does not deliver. He just frustrates me and makes me want to leave the theater. So we're about to head out, but I got some new stuff in my collection. All right, let's motor through some of these. I got something new from my Nicolas Cage collection, and it is an early 90s comedy with Samuel L. Jackson called Amos and Andrew. I really liked this film when I saw it when I was a kid. Does it age well? Who knows? But it's got Nicolas Cage in it in a great like honeymoon in Vegas time of his career. So gotta love that. I was also sent Changeland on Blu-ray. This is Seth Green's debut feature film. He wrote and directed this one. Breckin Meyer is in this film. Brenda Song, Randy Orton, like WWE wrestler Randy Orton, is in this one, which
Okay.
kind of blows my mind. Like I'm into that. And this is a rare film with Macaulay Culkin in it. He came out of his imposed retirement to do this film for one of his best friends on the planet, and then went back quietly into retirement again. So I didn't get a huge release. I think this is one of those Gravitas Ventures films. You know
Okay.
the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, so supporting Seth Green and Macaulay Culkin on that, and Randy Orton on it. The hell. I also got the Corsican Brothers. This is a Cheech and Chong comedy, part of the many Cheech and Chong comedies that came out. Probably one of the lesser ones, but probably Nice Dreams might be a little under this one. But I don't know. I dig the Corsican Brothers. I watched these movies thanks to my mom, your Nana, at probably way too young of an age, but I was obsessed with Cheech and Chong when I was a kid. I was obsessed with stoners. They were like mascots to me, which probably explains the adult that I became. But I'm super pumped to have Corsican Brothers in my collection, and I'm really interested to see how this movie ages in the 35 years since I've seen it. So no big deal there. Some TV stuff that I got. We didn't get this one, I don't think, in Canada, or maybe it's just on that Stack TV. But they did a series version of Ted, the Seth MacFarlane stuffed bear. There's a TV series.
Yeah, I think I know about
Um,
that.
which is like acts as like a prequel,
Yeah,
because
he's a
it's
kid or
the
something.
kids in high school. Yeah, he's in high school, and it's Max Burkholder from Parenthood is the kid, and it's not bad. It's honestly not bad. I'm not a huge fan of the Ted movies or Seth MacFarlane as a film director at all, because I just don't like his screenplays when it comes to film. But I'm enjoying Ted for the most part. And I'm also wondering why we didn't get this on any kind of streaming service right now. So it's kind of weird, but I had the Blu-ray, so it doesn't matter. Um, I got an upgrade for my Reacher season 2. Not much to say about that. It's just in 4K now. Damn good series. Alan Richardson kicks ass as the giant known as Jack Reacher, and just a solid film, solid series all around. Looking forward to season 3, and with the season 4 announcement that there's going to be another couple coming. And I also got the complete series of The West Wing, and this is kind of a big deal because The West Wing is one of those acclaimed shows that ran for years and people loved it, that is not streaming anywhere. Nobody has the rights to streaming for the show. I don't know why. But so the good way to have it is to have all of it on Blu-ray, which I do now, all 7 seasons of this Aaron Sorkin walk with me, talk with me show that just kind of informed how television was made for a long time. So really pumped to have that. And I frickin' love Bradley Whitford, so um, more power to me that I own that series now. So pretty pumped about that. But
Yeah, we got some quick butts.
butts. Okay,
Yeah.
I have to grow up first, and then
So VHS Beyond released. It's on Shutter or on the AMC channel through Amazon Prime. Um, it's okay. Uh, it starts out bad. The middle is pretty decent, and then it ends bad. Um, it's not something special. This one's about aliens, so all the segments are about aliens, and they all take place in like Toronto, which is kind of cool. But I wish that they, did it a little better. Um, and then
oh,
also,
two things about that.
okay,
One, I saw a behind the scenes video of them doing a special effect from Beyond where they're cutting something with a chainsaw, cutting a
yeah,
thing's head off or something like that.
yeah,
So they're showing that the making of that special effect. And then Justin Long is involved with this movie somewhere. I think he directed one of the segments or is in one of the segments, but
I don't recall seeing him in
okay.
in anything unless he was like wearing a mask or something.
Okay.
It would have made it better if I saw him.
It's fair. It's fair.
um, and then the second half of season 3 of American Horror Stories on Disney Plus came out. I don't know when it came out. I literally just realized that it existed yesterday and watched all 5 of the new episodes in a day. Um, Out of the 5 new episodes, only one of them is halfway decent. So that was extremely upsetting as well.
You're just not having a good experience when you're venturing out right now, are you?
I'm not winning at all. I'm not Charlie Sheen right now. Um just the acting is not the best. The writing is not good at all. Like, just straight up doesn't make sense. The second to last episode, Leprechauns, by the end of the episode, I was so angry because nothing that happened made sense. Like, the whole conflict is centered around bullshit. Um, and then the last episode, I can't remember what it's called. It's like the thing under the bed or something. I had a little bit higher hopes for it because it like the main star was Debbie Ryan.
Right.
Um
Okay.
but no, that one fumbled too. So I don't know. Like I was just very let down by the new horror stuff that came out. Hopefully on October 22nd when What We Do in the Shadows releases season what? Season
Six.
6.
Six, I believe. This is the end.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is the finale.
So I'm
Have
excited for that.
you have you tried Grotesquerie?
No.
Episode 1 was strong. I enjoyed episode 1.
Okay. What's it on?
Yeah. It's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's a Ryan Murphy FX show.
He literally just hurt me, but yeah, I'll try it again.
Fair enough. All right. So what's going on next week? That's right, a taste of next week, and it's horror sequel time. And no, it's not Terrifier 3, because I am not going to that film. You're gonna have to wait for Chloe to see that movie. No, I am going to see Smile 2, and I'm not even gonna lie. I feel a little shook right now. I feel a little worried,
Yeah.
a little a little concerned. The reviews are really good, and they said it's the jump scares are inventive and actually freaky. And there's something about this. The first, I enjoyed the first movie a lot. There's something about these movies that unnerves me a bit.
Mhm.
Is it the smile thing? You've seen the first film, right?
Yes.
That end scene is amazing, and it lived in my head rent free for a bit.
Yeah.
The execution of it is it actually is nightmarish. It is probably one of the horror movies that it's made one of the most what it's one of those horror movies that made a big impression on me in the last 5-10 years. It's a creepy film, and I don't know, this one looks very interesting to me. So and it's the reviews I'm reading are very interesting, but the fact that it's over 2 hours, I'm like, does it have to be over 2 hours?
That's a big thing right now.
I
Like
know.
3 out of 4 movies are over 2 hours, it feels
I
like.
know. I know. I'm just sometimes I'm like, you better justify this, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm feeling a little uneasy about Smile 2, but that is guaranteed the number one movie we'll be talking about next week. So that brings everything to a close here. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterbox, and Threads at the Stevel Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
You can find every episode that we've done here, including our Vancouver International Film Festival 2024 episode, on stevestebbing.ca. Also on my YouTube page, just look up Steve Stebbing. We're on shiftheads.ca. And I'm also on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the iHeartRadio network or News 1010. And also listen to Chloe and I on the brand new episode of After the Credits with Marina, Bill, and Melissa talking about VIF. Is also Chloe's first podcast episode that's not this show. So very
Yeah.
exciting there. And well, that emptied out our list for this week. We got to fill it up again. So until next time, bye bye.